In today's video, we'll be looking at a Kohler XT7 push mower engine that has not ran in several years. So we're going to tear into this carburetor. That air filter looked amazing compared to what the carburetor looks like. So you got two 10mm what they call whiz lock nuts holding on the airbox, and this is just like a Honda. It's a really easy motor to work on. So we're going to take the crankcase breather off the airbox. And that carburetor is extremely dirty. Now, most people will clean something before they work on it. At my shop, I don't clean anything until after I'm done with the repair, because dirt can sometimes lead you to the problem. So now we're going to time lapse getting the top off, because you've got to take the choke off the muffler. That's right, the little thermostat that sits on top of the muffler, which you'll see momentarily. You got to take that off to get it unhooked from the carburetor. That is the only bad thing about these motors. They're very reliable engines. I've always been a Kohler person. So we're going to get this top off. It's 310mm, and for some reason I didn't feel like using an impact the day I record this. But the top comes off very easy. The gas tank is not bolted on, and there is your thermostat. Two 10mm nuts is all that's got to come off. You get them out of the way, and then you just lift it off of there. It's really easy, and you just got to remember the orientation on how it went on, because it's tricky sometimes, and sometimes it don't want to come off. You can take the muffler guard off, but it's not necessary. Take a pair of pliers, pry it off, pick it up and unhook it, and move on to the next step. So the next step will be getting the gas line off. Now, this gas line was petrified. It was hard as a rock, and when I went to take it off, I put a hole in it. So I just decided to cut it off or tear it off. This video is about a month old at the time this is being uploaded, so I don't remember what I done, but tried to get it off, and it was just on there. It was stuck on there, and as you can see here, I just put a hole in it. Yep, that's how bad that gas line was. So it's going to get replaced. So I'm going to put my hose clamps on, because I don't know if it has gas or water, and I don't want it leaking all over the area that I'm working on. But that's one nasty carburetor, and we're going to get it off. And I just decided to just rip the hose off, and it finally came off, and that's not a good sign. So we're going to pull the carburetor off. All the gaskets are stuck to it. Again, not a good sign. What we find inside this carburetor later on in the video is unexplainable. But this choke piece and the spring, or not choke piece, the throttle and the governor spring, it can be a pain to get off at times, but it just pops out like on a Honda. So here we are, after using a whole can of carb cleaner to get the dirt off. We're going to knock the bowl nut loose. It shouldn't be that tight. Now we're going to further take it off, and rusty sludge comes out of the carburetor, which you will see here momentarily. Words cannot explain what was inside this carburetor. I warned you, it's pretty bad. The bowl was stuck, and what came out of there was unimaginable. So we'll dig the gasket off, and we'll put this through the ultrasonic, and wow, what a transformation. Spoiler alert, this piece of equipment needed a new carburetor because it wasn't clean enough. You couldn't get it clean enough. There was so much corrosion and everything, but it's still a good video on to show how to do the rebuild. So you put the two main jets in and tighten it up. Don't go crazy tight on it. And we'll put the float back on, and I do spray the carburetor off one more time. I'm working on the floor as usual. I'm just used to it after doing it for so many years. So we're going to put all this back together, put the float pin ends, and these got a little spring on the needle valve you got to depress to get the float to line up. We're going to put the gasket on, and you can argue over this, but carb spray does not hurt float bowl gaskets. During my Honda training course, one of the questions was, is carburetor cleaner safe to use on all parts of the carburetor cleaner? And the answer is yes. Now, the stuff I use in my Ultra, and that will eat rubber completely. So the carburetor's back together. It looks great on the outside, but on the inside, something somewhere wasn't right because it didn't work. But I'm still going to show the reassembly process because, well, it's interesting. And, yeah, everything's free. It looks great, but it still wouldn't run. On the next. Final thoughts on this. The way that carburetor looked. I had my doubts when I cleaned it, but the customer didn't want to spend a ton of money, and well, all of his equipment that he didn't want to spend money on to get fixed ended up in my junkyard. So chances are I'll do a video on how to replace the carburetor at a later date, since I ended up with a piece of equipment. So anyways, I hope y'all learned something. And that's the whole point of this channel, is educational purposes. As always, I will see you all in the next video. Bye for now. Want to learn more about small engines and what it's like to own and run a lawnmower shop on a daily basis? Be sure to subscribe to this channel. And I might not always upload frequently. That's because I'm extremely busy. And I stay busy year-round. So I hope you all learned something. Hope you all get that lawnmower cranked. And as always, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye for now.